What is going on, everybody? Coming at you again from somewhere in New Mexico. Just stopping somewhere new every day, which is kind of fun. Just road tripping across the America. So that's what we're doing today. Had a great Zoom hangout last night from here, which was really fun with all the Patreon folks. So thanks for coming and doing that. That was great. Um, so the other day, a company called me and was wanting to do some consulting. I do this from time to time on like pricing and that kind of thing. And actually, I told them that they need to charge more, which might sound funny because you might say, well, if you charge more, then less people will buy it. If you lower the price, then more people will buy it. But the real thing here is not so much charging less as much as it is charging correctly. Beautiful dogs. Um, it's not about attracting more customers via price as much as it is creating happy customers that will continue to come to you over and over and over and over again. Charging correctly gives a business, um, obviously, its resources to do what it needs to do to stay in business. And a lot of folks that don't run businesses don't understand what those resources are. That's a whole nother video that we could get into. If you want to talk about a lot of the unseen things about business, we could do that. That'd be a crazy video too. Um, so it's not necessarily um, about trying to get a customer to spend more, right? When you raise a price, it's literally about um, getting someone to um, match the customer with the business. You want a good match. You want a good match between the customer and the business. So the right value or the right match is basically if the customer values what the business does and what they value as a customer, and then what the business provides, and when those two things come together, they support each other, and it's a symbiotic relationship in that way, because you have a need or a desire for something and I have the thing to fill it, and we work together to do that thing. um, a better consumer, other than just saying I want something cheaper, says, what am I trying to accomplish? um, what differences between products will I personally notice? um, how much do customization, uh, customer service, uh, consistency, handmade craftsmanship versus something that was made overseas, for example, what compromises am I willing to accept? All these things drive the type of consumer that we are. We're not talking about price yet. We're just talking about the type of consumer that we are. Um, a smart person doesn't always buy a better product, right? Or a more expensive product. They look for something that fits their needs, and they don't spend money on something where those reasons don't matter to them. Um, because when it comes down to it, the price is not just the cost of the object. There, like I said, there's a whole bunch of unseen things there. That's a whole other video that we could get into. But not every customer needs all of those unseen things, or even some of those seen things. Like features. Um, so all that kind of stuff. Um, not all customers feel that stuff is important. So here's what I would recommend to you as a consumer. Don't buy something that has stuff that you don't value, right? Like, don't pay for benefits of a product that you don't personally value. Okay. Um, don't do that, because then it's a waste of money, right? Because you don't value it. Therefore, you just paid for something that doesn't mean anything to you. So don't do that. Um, but on the flip side of that, you cannot demand benefits from something that the price was never capable of supporting. So sometimes the expense of a product has a thing built into it where it's like you have to pay for it to get it. You know, This van that I have has a gas engine, like an actual petrol engine. If I were to get a diesel van, I would have to pay a premium more to get a diesel. Well, that just is too much. Okay, well, it costs more. So you have to pay for features. I mean, that's a thing. Underpricing things creates a worse experience for everybody. Okay. Um, Usually longer lead times, rushed work, inconsistent quality. The employee experience isn't as good. The business doesn't run as smoothly. Um, there's weak after sale support, and then there's the most important part from the business side of it is there is no capacity for improvement because you don't have given yourself any runway to increase. So when I was telling this customer the other day, I said this is the way you should price it so that if you want to expand into these other areas, you have the room to do so. Right? So don't make it this high, but also don't make it this low. Don't devalue yourself, but at the same time, leave yourself some room to grow into these other areas. Room for growth is really, really important. um, sometimes the price of a product is not elitism. Sometimes it's capacity. Sometimes it's this is all we can do. This is what it costs per unit because this is what we can do. Um, and so, and here's why this entire thing came up. It's because somebody in a comment a couple days ago, or maybe yesterday, I don't remember. I try to pay attention to this stuff enough to get a valuable conversation out of it. Okay. So somebody said, well, so what you're saying is you don't care about the people that like cheap guitars, which doesn't make sense because you build pickups. So therefore, those pickups should go in those cheap guitars. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. Okay. Um, this happens when we talk about inexpensive instruments because anytime we talk about an instrument that has some compromises built in to build to a price, this happens. Um, or anytime we talk about an expensive thing, this happens. You're driving customers away, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you're telling us that you don't need us because we have cheap guitars. To be honest with you, um, it's quite the opposite. Go back to the thing. It's because I really, really care, actually. Go back to the thing where we talked about if you have something that you don't fully appreciate all of the things, then don't buy it because we don't want you to waste your money. And to be honest with you, if you're not going to get the full benefit out of what I make, I don't want you to waste your money either, right? So that's why we try to help you understand what the benefit is. Now, I'm not saying I don't want you to buy our product, but I don't want anybody to waste money on anything, whether it's us or anybody else. I just don't want you to waste money. The other thing too is that people assume that every person who watches one of our videos is a potential customer, and that's just not true. Um, it's not realistic. I mean, I would love it if it was, but it's just not realistic. There are folks who have the priority of buying for whatever reason. It could be the need, it could be their experience, it could be the fact that they just simply can't afford something. But there are some folks who are very price driven, and their priority is the least expensive thing to get them going for whatever reason that is. It doesn't matter what the reason is, but their priority is, look, I only have $500. I only have X amount of dollars to spend because this is all I have, or to spend because this is all I'm willing to spend. Right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the reason. Those folks are not shopping for a premium handmade in the United States product that comes at a premium price. That's totally okay. Nobody should be offended by that. Nobody should be offended by the fact that, look, this is my needs. And, you know, I don't look at the diesel van sitting next to me that costs like 100,000 more than mine and go, think something negative about it. I think that dude's having fun. And he's got different needs than me. And I'm using mine and I'm having fun too. I've got different needs than him. I don't think about it. I mean, it would be cool to have a diesel, but, whatever, it's fine. Like, I don't care. Because I have different priorities, right? Some people are shopping for premium stuff. Some people are not shopping for premium stuff. I don't need to manipulate a person, and I don't ever want to do this. Manipulate a person into spending something that they weren't planning on spending, because then that creates a situation where they're under false pretenses and they will be disappointed. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to take a Harley Benton guy and say, "Look, we put these pickups in your guitar. It's going to make it sound like a Gibson." I don't want to do that. It will sound amazing, but I don't want to manipulate somebody into buying something that they weren't meant to buy for whatever reason. It's not cool. The only way we can sell you, if the only way we could sell you a premium product is by hiding why it costs more, uh, or pretending that the cheaper option can't possibly work, then I've not earned your business. That's not what we do. Um, and here's the thing. This isn't to say that I want you to stop watching the videos. Every person who watches a video is valuable, even though you may not be a customer. I still view you as a customer. If you consume our videos, I still want that relationship with you. I've met people in person and made friends with people who have never bought a pickup from me. I'm all about it. I'm all about the relationships. I'm all about making the friendships. I'm all about, and it doesn't matter what guitar you play, it doesn't matter. You might be perfectly happy with everything you own, and I'm happy for you for that, because that's good. That's very, very good. You might prefer another maker's sound. Sometimes I do too. I recommend other brands because it might be different. Um, you might enjoy learning about stuff without modifying anything or needing my services in any way, which is totally cool. That's what we want. You still contribute to the community. You're still part of the comments section. You're still awesome. You're still being right. So all of those things, and I always say this, even if you don't buy from me, but you went somewhere else and you made a good decision and didn't waste money, I am very happy. That's very, very important. Um, that's very important to me, and that's been the entire ethos of this channel. We don't need every viewer to become a customer. Okay, that'd be great if they did, but we know that that's not realistic, so I don't even go for that. But we want you to be a more informed guitar player, a more informed guitar consumer. That's the real goal. If that information leads you to buy a product from us, that's absolutely great. And what you'll find is true honesty doesn't drive away the right customer. Okay, so openly explaining a difference between a Harley Benton guitar and the real experience that I got, or an Epiphone, or a Squire, or a whatever, or a Gibson custom shop. Even saying, I have a Gibson custom shop and I haven't even changed the pickup in it because it's so good. That's honest too. If I were to tell you I have a Gibson custom shop and the pickup's okay but mine's better, to try to sell pickups when it isn't, that wouldn't make sense. Like, it would make sense. I have a bunch of guitars with the stock pickups in them because I like them. I think they're great, right? So it's not just about selling pickups. It's about being honest about what my findings are when I see something. Um, as you learn how our pickups are made, as you learn where they're made, as you learn what we do, how we do it, what they will and won't accomplish, then you will make an informed decision on our product, and then you may or may not become a customer, which is totally cool with me, man. And if you decide to not be a customer, that's great too. I still watch the videos and still enjoy the conversations and be part of these things. That's awesome. Um, you know, one of the things that happens when you create a situation that isn't real is which is what happens when you say something is better than it is, or anything like that, or even don't say something honestly about something that's not good, is you create expectation issues. You create misunderstandings, and if you don't do that, if you're really honest about everything, um, then the expectations are set. What I don't want to have happen too is I don't want to have a situation where you say, is this pickup gonna make my guitar sound better, but you may not know what that means because maybe you've not watched enough videos, maybe you've not learned about it yet. That's fine, because maybe you're new to the hobby or whatever. Like we talked about last week, everything we learn about then we become more nuanced and we learn more stuff. Okay, and we appreciate and recognize more qualities of things. If you don't have that, then what I don't want to have happen is you buy a pickup, you put it in the guitar, and you say, well, this made no difference. Because then you wouldn't be happy with it. I don't like that. I would rather you wait, maybe learn some stuff, come to the appreciation of the premium product yourself without me forcing it down your throat, and then buy. I would really appreciate that. A premium product over a over a not premium product, let's just say, is really your priorities. It's your priorities. The product costs what it costs to make. I'm going to tell you that right now. I can't sell you a P90 for half price. I can't. We wouldn't be able to stay in business. So it costs what it costs. Does it match your priorities? If you own a Harley Benton, if you own a custom shop, it doesn't matter to me. Does that pickup match your priorities? Does a GFS pickup better match your priorities? Does a Seymour Duncan pickup better match your priorities? I'm totally happy if that's what happens after you watch our videos and learn about what we do. Because I don't want you to buy something that doesn't match your priorities. You will not be happy. I want you to be happy in the end. I want you to be somebody who buys from us if you buy from us. For years and years and years, when we come out with something new and it's cool and you're like, yeah, the last one I bought was awesome. It fit what I needed. This probably fits what I need too. And then, but if you do that wrong the first time, then we lose you forever. And I hate that. I don't want to do that. So here's how you become a better consumer on your side. Okay. Before purchasing something, what are my actual needs? Right? What am I hoping will change? What problems am I trying to fix? What features matter to me? What differences between the two things matter to me? What does this price include beyond the object? Because there's a lot of service. There's a lot of, right? We've given you a lot of resources over the last 13 years beyond just the product. So we put a lot of work in outside just the pickup. Are my expectations reasonable at this price? I'm going to buy a $300 guitar. If it's more than just a functional instrument, if you're looking for more than just a functional instrument at $300 or even $500, I'd say at $300. You're stretching it. You're stretching it. Am I buying the product or am I trying to buy some kind of identity? That's a tough one. And if it's not the right fit, should I even buy the thing? And what would be the right fit, right? Being an informed consumer is just as important as us making a good product. We want good customers, right? So when we say this is the kind of person that we're looking for to buy our product, we want a good fit between us. So sometimes it's not a good fit. I turn down business all the time. This is what I'm looking for. It's not something I really do. Well, could you do it custom just for me? Had this happen this week. I've got something that I want you to make. Can you do it just for me? I'll pay you extra. No, actually. It's outside of what we do. I've done those types of experiments before. I've done those types of things. And what I find is sometimes, because of the lack of the education on the consumer side, sometimes the lack of communication about a very specific specification that they're looking for, there's a miscommunication there. Sometimes it doesn't totally match, and the chances of disappointment are super, super high. So I try to avoid that altogether. We stick together. We stick with what we do. It's basically, there's the whole old adage of do one thing right or two things half-assed. And we want to do what we do right. We're always fixing problems. We're always getting better. We're always learning. But we make great pickups, the ones we make. And so we want to stick to that. And we want to make sure that you are happy with them. And if you are not a customer that fits what we do, making a premium product in the United States that is an upgrade for almost every guitar, except for there's a few on the outside that I would recommend you not change the pickups in your Gibson custom shop with a P90 in it. Don't do that. You might want to just for fun, but I don't know. Most people will tell the difference. And I'll be honest with you with that. I'll tell you, that's not a good idea. I wouldn't do that. That's not the direction I would go. That's not the direction I would go. But an informed consumer shows up in my inbox and says, hey, this is my plan. This is the results that I want. This is what I want to do. And I go, I can do that. Here's the product. Or I can't do that. Here's who I would recommend. That is the kind of relationship that I want to have with you. So the next time you're like, that dude was super honest about that. And next time I have an idea where he can't fit that, here we go.